What is up, everybody? How we doing? I should be coming in through loud and clear now. Welcome back to yet another live stream. This is week number 68 of the Camera Junkie live stream of Club Camera Junkie, and I thank you as always for spending your most precious commodity, your time here with me. If it's your first time here, I am your host. My name's Lewis. I'm also known as MrCameraJunkie, and welcome to the live stream. Today we're going to be talking about a mystery microphone that you are listening to right now. It is impressed me because it was just something that I decided to try out, and you let me know your thoughts of how you think this microphone is sounding. As of right now, to me, oh, thanks so much for the love, man. Look at that. Amazing. Look at that. That always I can't emphasize how much I appreciate that. Like I had always mentioned, channels like mine don't meet the metrics for the monetization, which I think one of my biggest goals to reach the monetization goals is to remove ads from my videos, but I digress. And with that being said, going back to it, talking about the microphone, I just want to give my thanks to my man. I really do appreciate you, and like I was saying, like channels like mine that don't meet those metrics, have the ability to get blessed, right? Get blessed in a financial way from people who appreciate what I do, and it's the reciprocal feeling is so highly appreciated. But getting back to it, let me know what you think of the sound of this microphone, because just to give you a little bit of information about this microphone, currently I have Aiden here playing his cartoons, being entertained, and he's got the volume up higher than normal. I even have the air conditioning running on, because if you saw me a couple weeks ago, I was like melting because I forgot to regulate the fans and stuff. But right now I have this going off at full tilt, and to me it sounds great. Now the last thing is the clarity of my voice, and how I'm coming across to you. So I've done a couple of recordings, even to just like the last moment right before I went live, and I'm still impressed at this microphone. I really am shocked at this microphone. The crazy thing is that I did label it as the mystery microphone, right? The mystery microphone wasn't to get you to guess which microphone that I'm using, because this is a one-off. This is a one and only. And let me give you a little bit of the backstory of how I came about this microphone. Well, everyone here has probably heard, and if you haven't, one of the more popular microphones is the Shure SM7B. A lot of people love the way that this microphone sounds, and a lot of microphones try to kind of be, they kind of hold it like the bar, the standard. Some people totally dislike it. It's neither here nor there. It's a very popular microphone. Shure in general all make terrific microphones. Another microphone that uses the same capsule as the Shure SM7B is the SM57. Now the SM57 is a microphone that's also been around for a long time. You usually get them for like around $100. They're die-hard microphones, and they use the same capsule. But the biggest difference, and what is like even known within the people who do microphones, is that the SM7B is the same exact capsule as the SM57, except that it's what they would call transformerless. So it's basically like a direct signal from the capsule to your interface, and there are different things that you could adjust within the SM7B. You can put a low cut filter and also a high pass filter, but at the same time most people use that microphone without anything at all, just leaving it as flat or neutral profiled as possible to try to get it, you know, as clean a signal. And it's a like I said, a very, very popular microphone. So there is this channel that I came across a long time ago. Well, I came across the content creator Marlon through what was the application? Wow, I forgot right now. Clubhouse. It was through when I was spending my time at Clubhouse at the beginning of 2020, and I met him through there, and then also through like the Illuminati, and he's just always around the same circles. His name is Marlon. He has a channel called White Noise Studios, and he has a particular video there where he shows you how to try to mimic the same type of capsule to console type of sound that you get from the SM7B by removing the transformer that exists within the SM57. So what I was doing throughout all of this time was trying to see if I can get myself into a similar type of project, which would be to basically find a used SM57 and try to see if I can mod it myself. Now I'm just gonna leave that right there because that's just the precursor. So we're gonna put a pin on it, and I just want to see who's here in chat and say what's up to all of you amazing people. Okay, so we have Luis Lozucas in the house. He says first, and Melanie says she's second. What's up, guys? Okay, Scott saying happy St. Patty's weekend. Likewise, happy holiday. He goes, and welcome to all crew members. The Paul Duncan, master moderator, is in the house. Says Robert Davenport. Robert P. Davenport says, nice to be early and not late. Well, I appreciate having you here. Early, late, you know, it's a club. Like, the club is here open, and while it's open, you can stop in anytime. Dr. Charles Richard saying hello to everyone watching March Madness. Actually, I'm not. I can't even tell you how I don't even watch sports anymore, but that's a whole nother conversation. Mario Crespi is in the house saying hello to me and to friends. And while I'm taking this time talking about friends, if you haven't done so already, make sure that you... Oh, did that not come through? Totally did not come through. What's going on? There we go. Make sure you rewind it, right? We got the sound effects, so make sure you... That like button is highly, highly appreciated if you haven't done so yourself. I partake in a lot of live streams myself, and I always tend to forget sometimes, so I always appreciate the reminder. So Melanie is saying hello to everyone as well. Nano is here, Tech for Your Knees, saying hello, folks. Kevin Cox is here as well, saying hello. I can't tell you how much I love this community. Everybody's just always saying hi. And if it is your first time here, don't be a lurker. Make sure that you introduce yourself so that you can get, you know, the warm welcome from the crew. See? Like Robert. So there we go. Yes, and Mr. Paul Duncan, the master moderator, says, if you got a question for me, Mr. Camera Junkie, remember to put a Q in front of it. That makes it a lot easier for me, because with the program that I'm using here, Ecamm Live, which is what allows me to do everything that you're seeing on screen here, it allows me to search for the questions. So before I close out, I make sure that I answer all the questions that have been given through. So if you can, please put a Q in front of it. It's highly appreciated. All right, Sly is also here in the house saying hello to everyone. I think Kevin was telling me that I'm on mute. Yeah, actually what it was you know, to make sure that everything was working correctly, I restarted the computer right before the live stream. And in doing so, it turned off my audio hijack. So I had to reinitiate the sequence to actually get it to pass through, kind of like flick the switch on. So everything was working, all the cameras, everything was tested, and I was seeing, you know, like the levels come through the Zoom. But what was not happening was audio hijack was not active to actually be working. So okay, so yep, he also gave me the thumbs up. Appreciate all of you letting me know. Sammy Superstar is also here in the house. Says new microphone. Yeah, it can't get newer than this. And it's funny because Doc Rock held a audio workshop with Ecamm, and he mentioned something that was kind of like a tongue twister. That was a sneeze. Shout out to Professor Nez. Professor Nez, if you're seeing this, you know, you got one back on you, so to speak. That's probably like one of the first times that I ever sneeze on the live stream, but I digress. We'll continue. All right. Make sure I don't have anything on my face, right? That's kind of important. Especially when you're running 4K. All right. We're doing good. All right. Where were we? Okay, yes, new microphone. Yes. So, like I said, Doc Rock mentioned something, but we're going to get to that because I'm trying to build up the suspense here. It says it has a little buzz, high pitch, but the music makes it better. Okay, cool. Okay. And it says it looks suspiciously similar to the Shure SM57. Exactly, right? So now we're getting some of the comments in here right now. It says it sounds pretty good. I also think so, especially that it sounds so like it's actually like not picking up everything. It almost seems like it's not, it's like super hyper cardioid, right? But we'll get to that. Okay, so we have someone saying maybe the SM57 clone the Pile, right? Which this is why, you know, this also makes me think like, yeah, now I know how they can sell the Pile, you know, clone for like $20. It does sound good if it's a 57. I used it a bunch of times. This is John. How are you doing, John? I just started reading without saying. It says it does sound good if it's a 57. I used it a bunch of times for drums, guitar amps, super versatile microphone. Yes. It says one of a kind. What does that mean to be dealing with FOMO? Yeah, and that's one thing, because I want to be clear. This is not a microphone that you can purchase. That's why this is a one of a kind thing, because I ended up, you know, drum roll please. Let me build it up a little bit more, right? I made this microphone myself. So how did I do this, right? I started looking at that same video from White Noise Studios and how it had to be deconstructed and the things that you had to do. He has a great tutorial if you have one and you want to make it transformerless. He even tells you, you know, like to not boil the water and put the microphone in a bag, because if you don't do so, the glue that's holding the transformer is gonna ruin your pot. So it's little details like that that make all the difference. But in doing so, I started researching and I started saying, like, if I'm gonna make it transformerless and I just need a direct to capsule, then don't I really just need a capsule? So I went and started using the power Sammy looks like he nailed it. He goes, did you make your own microphone? I did. I ended up going to eBay and I ended up buying just the replacement capsule of the same SM57, SM7B, just the same exact capsule, and I just waited for it to get here. It ended up costing me about $12 with the shipping, right? And I was like $12 or $13, so I'm like, that's even less than the Pile microphone, which really made me understand. But that just adding the transformer and a metal housing is not really that much more when the technology is all built into the capsule. And with that being said, as soon as it got here, I just started to think of different ways of how I was going to utilize it, because the only thing that I did was actually just purchase the capsule and have it sent this way. As soon as that happened, I really didn't think of anything more after that. So when it got here, I started to get my wheels grinding, so to speak. And what ended up, well, let me grab it just to show you what I ended up doing. Let me go to my overhead cam and show you this piece of PVC. And this piece of PVC is basically what I used to be the body of the microphone. Now, I had also a microphone cable that the microphone cable was giving me an issue here at the connection joint, so I stopped using it. And shout out to Sammy, because this is the cable that you hooked me up with. So as you can see, I highly appreciate it, putting it to use. The thing is that the cable that I had was dying at this point right here at the base. So when I was using it, and even on a couple of live streams while I was just moving the microphone, it ended up just like making a loud sound, just causing static and feedback, bunch of problems. So I stopped using that microphone, and that's what I used to be actually the base. So the other end, the female end of the microphone, which connects to the board just the same way, I actually cut that end of the cable and then just put the rest away, because it's not like it's bad. If I wanted to reverse engineer it and put it and make it back a cable, it's not going to be an issue. So I cut the cable as close to this end as possible, and then made the same direct to capsule connection through it. Then the thing on the outside of this microphone, just so that you wouldn't see a PVC pipe, is gaffer's tape. So I just ran a couple of layers of gaffer's tape so that it just is black. The one screw that you see here is to actually hold the clip in place, and what's holding the capsule to this, or to the PVC pipe itself, is hot glue. I just put hot glue down close to the capsule, put the microphone part in it. Once it sat down, I just made sure that it was centered. Once it dried and it was cool, I was able to just easily scrape off the excess, kind of like what just bulged out, kind of like muffin style, out the sides. Took that off and then just started to cover it with gaff tape so that it didn't look bad. Once I connected it and started listening to it, I was just so surprised, because it's such a clean signal. As of right now, you're listening to it directly to my Zoom PodTrack P4 and then out to Ecamm. I don't have the low cut filters even put on, so you're listening to like the entire spectrum. I do have a limiter set up through the Zoom so that it doesn't peak, but that's it. And I think it sounds great right now. Like the air conditioning turned on and it kicked on, and like compressor and everything, and I don't hear it. It's not coming through. And now with this ability to keep this signal so clean, and the music being on a separate track, and slowly I'm starting to better utilize Ecamm, and these new versions are just monster, right? Because right now there's a couple of things, but I hear this song and I'm like, hey, you know what? This song is not my favorite. So I skipped it. Little things like that to get things back on track. And the whole thing is that I'm going to start repurposing my content, so to be able to utilize these sound and audio tracks separately is ideal. But the mystery microphone, man, I can't even tell you. It was just something that I just, like, once the part came in, I was like, let me see how it worked out. And it's like, let's say it's my prototype, right? And it came out pretty damn good as a prototype. Like, I know that I'd be able to use this microphone forever. You know, I really have to like kill the microphone to get it not to work, which once again just makes me understand why this microphone is so sought after. These things are tanks, they don't die. And right now, this is the cheapest SM57 without a transformer to sound similar to an SM7B type microphone that you can find, because the PVC I had, but how much would this cost you anyway? So I would say all materials, including the hot glue, would probably be under $15, which is still about $5 less than the pile. Really up to you. The only difference is that I don't know if Pile is actually using a Shure capsule. To my understanding from the listing, this is a replacement of a Shure microphone capsule. So this is a Shure microphone right here where it counts. So that's the story of the mystery microphone. I once again, I'm really impressed with the way this sounds. Of course, I probably have to work on a little bit on the plosives, but that also has no windscreen on it. I was thinking about making a little like a plosive protector, you know. And you know what? Let's try this, because it may look a little weird, but it actually, I know, will work very well. This is the pop filter for my Zoom H5 handy recorder. As you can see, it looks a bit exaggerated, but if it works, it works. And right now it works. So I haven't found anything else. I'll be working on a pop filter, you know, foam pop filter to put on top of this to complete it. But like I said, I just like am super impressed with the sound quality that I'm getting out of this microphone. Of course, I'm going to listen to it, how it sounds to you guys and how it's being recorded through the live stream, obviously. But at the same time, I've heard the recordings here and they sound great. Yeah, I'm just looking at it and it's like almost zero noise floor, even less than the Rode Pod mic, which is pretty impressive. So let's see where we're at here. Peter Greg is in the house. Say hello to Lewis and Aiden. Absolutely. Okay, so that sounds like an older AKG condenser mic. Nice. See, let's see. That just sounds very interesting. An AKG condenser. John says, I bet he did. That would be a Lewis special. Yeah, and now you know what, talking about the special, like what would I name my self-made Shure microphone? And that's what brings me back, because I'm editing this audio workshop, and as I'm listening to it, Doc says and kind of mixes two microphones together, and he mixed the SM7B with the Shure MV7, and he ended up calling it the Shure SM7V. And I'm like, and my last name being Vega, that kind of has a nice ring. So I think that's what I'm gonna be calling this microphone. This is the Vega Special Shure SM7V. V for Vega. Sammy saying hi to Peter. Says, I bet you created your own mic and got an old SM57. Well, it's not old. It was actually new because the older ones were actually the harder to find, you know, and people kind of wanted even more for the older ones. So it goes to show you. Sammy says, RIP Clubhouse. That's funny. Says the buzz might be a noise gate if you have one. It could be the limiter, right, on the Zoom, because it's the only thing that's there. Saying, what's up, man? What's up, man? Once again, I appreciate the coffee, sir. Highly, highly appreciate it. Mr. Paul Duncan saying, don't forget to hit the thumbs up. Okay, we got double messages here. Let's close that out. Oh, wow, Miss Eva Johnson. How are you doing? Saying, hi, Mr. Camera Junkie. Been a long time. Good to see you again. Not usually online at this time. I know. Thank you for stopping by. It's nice to see you. Really nice to have you here. All right. So it says the queue is so important. Didn't realize it until I was using Ecamm yesterday that had a chat blowing up. Yeah, when you get crazy blowing up chats like me right now, pulling a Miss D in the chat and being like 15 minutes behind, then yeah, if you want to get straight to the questions. It says mystery pencil mic, wepa at MrCameraJunkie. I'm just really surprised with how, like, I don't think you guys have heard Aiden, and he's over here making a ruckus. Like, because I'm just looking at the levels, right? And it being right here, I'm just so impressed with this thing. And like I said, it's just direct to your mixer, direct to your, you know, I'm just like almost speechless. Because if I stay quiet, there's no sound. But then as soon as I do, it's coming in so nice and rich and clear. And I'm excited. I don't even know. I'm going to see it. Because right now, as you can see, I got it by this clamp here. That's what's holding it on. So, like, as you can tell, I was not even ready for this. So, with that being said, I'm going to look for a better, you know, shock mount for a similar type of microphone like this, is to put better use to it. But it's so crazy. You know what? Let's do something here. Okay. All right. So what am I doing? Going top view. Boom. So as you can see, I'm just like I said, this thing already feels like a tank. It's lightweight. I put a little bit of hot glue to cover in, but as you can see, that's just the end of like the mic jack, and then the cable within the PVC pipe directly to the capsule. Capsule's being held up in here with hot glue and then just wrapped with gaffer's tape so that it's got like a matte black finish so that it doesn't really pick up a lot of light, and obviously it's gonna look 100 times better than anything like this, right? So for the capsule that I paid $13, and I guess, you know, Access Materials $15 microphone, that I just can't get over. I can't get over this. This thing really has impressed me. Oh man. So I guess now I'm gonna put it back and we can play around a little bit as I continue to check messages for the differences in the sound between the pod mic and the SM7V. All right. This actually doesn't look half bad. This looks, you know, a bit official, like to have these two microphones next to each other. Okay, so right now you're listening to this microphone through the yellow cable, the Shure microphone, and then I can switch over to the pod mic. So this is the Rode pod mic, and this is my Shure microphone. Oh man, I'm gonna show you something as well. This I just did right now, and it works so well, super dope. I'm gonna go back to the overhead cam. The Zoom PodTrack P4, as you can see, has these buttons right here to mute the tracks. So right now, this channel here is my sound effects, and this is my Shure microphone that you're seeing right here. So now my Shure microphone, I click this and I mute it, unclick it to unmute. But to switch microphones, I click them both at the same time, and it automatically switches the microphone just because I'm clicking them both at the same time. So right now we're listening to the pod mic, and now we're listening to the Shure. Pod mic, Shure microphone. There we go. This is the pod mic right now, and we will go back. Boom. Wow, this is fun. This fun, and having the fact that they're both into the same channel, so there's no difference when it comes to the equalization, just the fact that they're different microphones. Oh, that's fun, that how easily, and the fact that you don't hear any of the muting or the switching of the microphones, you just hear the difference in the microphones. From what I'm hearing in my ear, it sounded like the pod mic is even clearer in the top end, like in the high frequencies. So that's just kind of what I was hearing right off rip. And now we're back to the Shure microphone. It just sounds a lot lower, a lot darker. Wow. You see, like putting them right there next to each other, you could really tell the difference. Well, at least I think I could. I'm gonna go once again, switch over, and yeah, it's just clearer, it's brighter on the top end. Paul Duncan, always watching this stream, you can cause a certain burst of gas. As long as you have credit cards out of reach, it will pass. I absolutely love that comment. Dr. Elo is in the house, man. It says, I'm really impressed with your Ecamm setup, and the mic sounds very clear. Thank you very much. I put a lot of work into my Ecamm setup. You know, I got my cameras, I got quite a few different things, but right now I'm happy with the completion, seeming that I got my rotating cameras. This is another A6100. This is an iPhone hanging here to give more of the broad view of the behind the scenes of what I look at right here. My sound effects. And then this is a fan just to try to keep me cool at all times. But now I don't even really need the fan so much, because if the air conditioning could stay on and the microphone's not picking it up, boom. But one thing that I did notice, and this is just giving you a little bit of my personal findings, is that because I started to do this test, I'm running both of these microphones directly through my Zoom PodTrack P4, and I have this as my audio interface. What I did notice is that I think I've been getting a little bit more distortion that I've needed to clean up more, because of my DBX 286S. Now, I don't think it's the 286S itself. I actually think it's my channel strip that it's connected to. Because the other day when I went live with India Delgado, shout out to India, I actually had my Windows PC on and she was hearing this tremendous buzz. And now I think that I've been getting even cleaner signals by bypassing it, and I learned that because of this test of these microphones. So it's very interesting. I'm probably going to be rocking it like this for the foreseeable future, just because it's, you know, I'm gonna test it, of course. I'm always listening to my stuff. That I'm anal like that. But that's just me trying to upgrade my skills and try to perfect all of this stuff. So that's my thing, and try to figure out all of these things. But if I can take something out of the chain that could be causing, you know, interference, I think this sounds well enough to do so. Okay. Says somebody was talking to Dr. Elo, letting him know. Says, what's your CCam? Okay, so my CCam is that one. Like I said, that's an iPhone XR. It's just wide, and I have it on an arm, so it's hanging and floating. I actually put it on this piece of wood furniture just for the fact so that it's not connected to my desk, so that if I were to bump my desk accidentally or anything like that, then it wouldn't rock. And the biggest problem with that high camera is because it was on such a flimsy arm that any movement, it would just kind of like continue to shake, like an old basketball hoop after you missed the three-pointer. You know, something like that. It would just continue to just like have this like continued shake. So whenever the camera would go into it, the newest addition is my overhead camera, which is this guy right here, and this is a Sony A50-100. Little guy, because it's nice and little, and this is a really impressive shot for me, right? Like, what can I bring here? iPhone. Right? This shot is off of the kit lens. So everything that you're seeing here, right? Bokeh that you can see like in the pod track over here. Anything that we bring up. Got my YouTube and Discord notifications. Looks like Rob Balasabas did something, what it says? Last night in California. I gotta check that video out. Shout out to Rob. To you, Rob. You, Rob. But this is the latest addition to the setup off of the kit lens. And that's what I think this was like the final piece of the puzzle. And the reason why I say that is because of the fact that I've constantly been moving this camera here to this position here all the time whenever I wanted to get this shot. But now that this one's here, and then that one's there, and then this one's here, I don't have to move any of these cameras whenever I want to make other videos. So whether it's a simple unboxing or anything like that, you know, like those pain points of having to move the camera and things like that to get the signal the way I want so that I can record it and utilize it, man, I'm telling you, this has been a game changer. So Ecamm A6100, Bcam A6100, Ccam iPhone XR, overhead cam A5100, and that's my setup. All right. Says, I remember like 3 or 5 months ago you were interested in this before the pod mic. You see, so I guess I had mentioned it before. I don't remember if I actually had done it on the live stream, but yes, that was something that I was interested in. So when I saw that I can find the capsule by itself, I was like, you know what? Order it. And it took a while. It took like, I would say close to a month. Yeah, I would say probably close to a month to get this capsule here. So I almost like forgot about it, and when it showed up I was like, oh, this is great, let me see what I can do with it. And once again, just surprising the quality of sound that I'm getting out of it. Now, like resonant frequencies and getting like, it's gonna pick up all the sound because it has no deadening to it. But as far as the price, and I think it was just like to create something and have that sense of completion. It's something that, you know, it's very satisfying to build and create stuff with your hands. If you're able to create quick little fixes, I think that's just like, I guess for me as well, they're just these quick little dopamine hits that allow me to just like, okay, that's something that benefited me, it was useful, and now allows me to move on. Kind of like my mouse bumper, right? Let's see if we can get it there. You know, where I just put a little foam bumper so that whenever I'm using my mouse, it doesn't accidentally click on bottles or anything like that. Something that's simple, takes about 15 minutes, and like get that sense of completion. This microphone I made today, right? Today or yesterday? Like, oh, I got the capsule yesterday. So yeah, I just made it yesterday. Like I said, like I got the part, I was like, okay, let's do it, and I made it, and it's like just boom, done. It says I want to create my own mic now. I had the company make one, but I think I can get a better mic. You know, yeah, let me put that on there so that you see Sammy Superstar saying that. You know what was another thing that it gave me an idea for, to creating like the microphones that Peter had, like those old-fashioned, you know, like spring held on, centered, you know, like old classic microphones. And if it's capsule direct to console, that's a piece of cake, you know. I'm gonna now start looking into just like the connections and things like that, just to mess around and see what's possible. Because, well, you know, for those of you who are here, right, for the Camera Junkie crew, I'm gonna spoil my idea. What I'm thinking about doing now is actually getting an inexpensive USB microphone, right? And getting an inexpensive USB microphone, which I know that they did not invest in the capsule, right? That they did not invest in the part that actually creates the sound, but has all the electronics and maybe even a form factor that I like. Open it up and replace the not so good capsule with a excellent capsule, with something just like this, put it back together, and then have a SM7V type USB microphone. So that's one of my next projects, you know, something that I just got in my head. So just like last time when I mentioned about making this microphone or modifying the SM57, keep an eye out for that one, because that's probably gonna be a project that one of these days I'm gonna get the itch, and I'm gonna start taking things apart, soldering things together, and come out with a finished product. I end up doing a lot of these things, you know. Let me see if you guys are gonna have to remind me. I created this thing for my iPhone. I think now I'm looking for it, and as I'm scanning, right, so like, where did I put it? I just remembered, I think I left it in the car, so for next time. But remind me, because I actually created like a handle for an iPhone where you can put it onto basically any smartphone and connect it to your smartphone via Bluetooth. And what it did was basically give you like a DSLR handle for your iPhone. And I created what I call, you know, like my prototypes a working like entry-level design. The button clicks, and whether it's video or photography, it gives you a nice grip for your iPhone. So when I created this was years ago, right? When I made this, I actually started looking into creating a patent for this idea. And when I started doing a little research on the patent for this idea, I found that somebody already made it and somebody owned the patent, which meant that if I wanted to create this, I would be investing a lot of money and I would still be paying royalties to the person who owns the patent. And I was more like, let me get the patent before I decide to make it. And once I saw that somebody was already onto market with something similar, even if mine could have been better, it was just already like, okay, not gonna put my eggs in those baskets. But the funny thing is that my working prototype I've had for years and I've used for years, even to the point where the button itself has lost like all of its luster and shine, and I've just like worn it out. And I've made like, I just tend to make these things. It's just something that I've done my entire life. Paul says, now we're really getting creative. And Sammy says it sounds really good for $12. I know, but the thing is that I just went and I bought it's kind of like these Elgato microphones, right? Where they actually get the capsule and the most important part from Lewitt. So now from Lewitt you're getting that part, and then you're still building the electronics, but the thing that's capturing the sound, the most important vital part of the microphone, has quality built into it through a company that's put all of their R&D into that aspect. Because there's someone in China selling 4 cartridges for 1424 plus let's not even get into it, because like if you wanted to just get the capsules themselves, when you buy anything in bulk, you're gonna be paying a lot less. So if this was something that you were interested in doing, I find it like this was a cool little project, as far as like a hobby, because there are kits that you can buy to make like a TLM 104, right? I think that's what it is. The Neumann TLM 104 or 103. So many numbers sometimes. My apologies. It's one of those two. But that's like a $2,000 microphone, and there are kits online that you can buy all of the pieces and make your own clone of it. That's gonna get you the same quality sound, but for a quarter of the price. So instead of paying $2,000 for the microphone, I think you could pay like $480 to $500 for the kit. This is something similar as well, but this was just all like off the whim. Like, I really think if I put a little bit of more planning, instead of using PVC, right, I would probably use copper, because I know that I can get copper in different fittings and different sizes and cut those to size and even solder them together, or maybe even brass pipes with brass fittings to give it like a nice luster and a nice polish afterwards, and start making like your own custom microphones. I think that's just gonna be fun. It's probably something that I'm just gonna start out and try. So another thing that I did was record the process while I did it step by step. So my next video, I'm working on it right now in the editing process of just cutting it out. It's probably gonna be a couple minutes long because it's not that much. As you see, it doesn't take a lot to create this microphone, but I can't tell you, I'm ecstatic because it sounds good and it was a lot of fun to create. And like I said, to have a complete finished product, and it like gives me that sense of satisfaction, the sense of completion. Dude, awesome. Says the mic is a little soft on the gain, not sure if it's or just the gain on the zoom. Balance seems a little light compared to the background jams. Okay, so I could put it up. Let's see. So now we're about on the 5. I know we should definitely be sounding a lot louder than the music now. And that's on the Shure. And this is the pod mic. Yeah, the pod mic seems to have higher levels, but that's also what I was saying. It just seems to be brighter as well. Okay, but now this, as I hear it, now this is got plenty of gain, but it just sounds clearer as well than the pod mic. So I think the gain made all the difference. Says I could sell a CameraJunkie microphone. You know, it's funny because I'm planning on, like, I don't know, I'm trying to see how I can do it, right? How I can be like clever with it and basically be like, the first camera that every content creator should buy is a microphone. Right? Like kind of like, you know, rabbit, like bait and switch. Like the best #1 creator, like camera for all content creators to start with is a good microphone. Like that is the first camera you should get, is a good microphone. That's funny. He says, hey Lewis, I like that song. Just kidding. I hope you didn't, because that one's probably going to come off the list. Because it's not about that it's a bad song. It's kind of like a DJ, right? Sometimes you have a flow, and with the songs coming in a certain way, they don't mix well. You know, like they don't flow from like the previous song. It's kind of like a shock to the system. And when I feel that shock and I'm listening to it very low through my in-ear monitor, I know that that's gotta be like jarring to everyone who's listening to it. Operator standing by. Call 1-800-MCJ-FOMO. That is a legit number. 1-800-MCJ-FOMO to order your MCJ mic. Oh, I love it. Oh. And the thing is, the way that you keep the value in the microphone has nothing to do with the parts. Has to do with the availability. And there's only a limited number. Only 100 microphones will ever be made like this. Orders, you know, place your orders now. Okay, Sammy says $5 less than the pile, and the pile sounds so bad. I don't think the pile sounds too bad. It can't, right? Like when you're imitating such a high quality microphone. But the thing is, like I said, this isn't a pile because it's not a pile capsule. The one thing that I did was buy a Shure capsule. So it's a Shure microphone in whichever body I decide to put it in. Because this is super impressive for the budget. Right? Because that's the whole thing. You know what? Good thing that you bring it up, Kevin. Because, you know, when I'm over here looking for a microphone, you know, you buy it right or buy it twice. But if it wasn't that I was already happy with this microphone, right? I wouldn't have explored to say, like, you know what? Let me just try to make one. Like, right? And to even run a live stream with it, it's also so much fun, right? Because this microphone, like, this could just be it. That's what I said. Like, most people this could be their forever mic, so to speak, right? Like the sound that you're getting from it is that quality. So why not? Like, the SM57 in this capsule is the presidential microphone. So I could even look and just buy that presidential pop filter, put it right on here. Nobody will know the difference. Nobody will even hear the difference. Nobody will know that I made a PVC microphone unless you watch my live stream. Which, if you watch my live stream, make sure you hit the like button. Do that. All right? Appreciate it. Thank you. He's saying great job. I wonder if Peter Gregg brought Mabel with him tonight. You know what? Well, just what were the names of these microphones that Peter has from that company? You know, like the circle ones. I'm thinking, you know, how can I make something like that? Something that looks that pretty, or something that looks pretty like the, you know, the Super 55s. You know, something old school, something classic, but that you know you're going to get a great sound because you're already dealing with quality components. But I think making the USB mic, yeah, like next is making a USB microphone. I think that's the next step. Unsure SM. I love it. Oh, that could be the name of the video right there. Unsure SM57V Special Edition. I love that, Paul. That was great. Test the audio in Audition, GarageBand, Logic, whatever you can. You like it better, than you will get the best sound quality, or even Zoom recorders. I don't think I read that correctly, so let's try it one more time. Test the audio in Audition, GarageBand, or Logic. Whatever you like better, even you will get the best sound quality, or even Zoom recorders. It says Q colon is even better than Q. Yep. Are you selling any of these mics? Sammy, if you want one of these mics, I will make one for you, sir. You're the one who gave me this pod mic that I've been using for so long. I'll make sure that I will send one to you as a prototype special edition. See? Oh, Robert just mentioned it. Have I tried the SM57 pop screen? No, because like I said, I just got this yesterday, and you know, like put it together yesterday. So this is all on a whim. I was trying to see if I can create a pop filter on my own, because I know I have some of the foam lying around here. Like, this is the pop filter that I made for the pod mic. Let me show you. Come on, focus. It's literally just a piece of foam, and then I took a piece of Velcro and I wrapped it right around there and tightened it to the size of the pod mic, and I just put it right on top. So now let's switch over. Now we're on the pod mic. Peter Piper picked a podcast to populate his preferred podcatcher. Peter Piper picked a podcast to populate his preferred podcatcher. Peter Piper picked a podcast to populate his preferred podcatcher. And that's the difference between the pop filter. I know Tom Buck had a friend of his that made a 3D pop filter, something similar. But this is what I was able to come up with, and it just works, and it just comes on and off. And my favorite part, that even though I'm using it, it doesn't change the look of the Rode pod mic, which is what is all about this microphone. So just putting a small little pop filter, just little ideas that I think of just to problem solve. So I was thinking of doing something similar to this for this, but then I also had another idea, because I'm also thinking that I probably can get the pop filter from the SM7B, right? Or from the reporterstore.com, throw it on there and actually have like this microphone out of shot where the only thing that you can see come into the shot, kind of like Doc Rock, would be the pop filter itself, and see if anyone could actually tell the difference. Because if I were to just rock the microphone, you know, hypothetically like so, right, and then all you see is pop filter in front of it, that's what's coming out, you don't actually see the body, who would tell the difference, right? And if the sound quality is the same, similar to, right, because of course you have different interfaces, so they're all going to sound a bit different. Switch again, and then having them sound a bit different themselves, well, I don't know, I just think it's just so much fun what could be done with all of this stuff. Sammy says I would pay for this mic. Come on, Sammy, you can pay $15 to have it ordered, right? Or 12 or 13, something within that range, and then see if you can make one yourself. I'm putting the video together of how I did it. It's not hard, and it seems like it will last. Just there's no reason why it wouldn't. It says it looked like it had been spray painted with matte black paint, and it's not. That was just the gaff tape, and that's what I kind of like, because it also gives it a nice texture feeling as well. So it's not like paint on plastic. It is like that nice felt feeling that you get from the gaff tape. So it's a lot of fun. I like this. Is it an SM7D for dupe? I like that. Sammy's like, I want to get one of these now. Says we lost audio. Oh, it could have been when I was switching the microphones, right? Says Rode is warmer and has more presence. Use them both simultaneous because Lewis mic covers the highs. Ooh, I wasn't even thinking. So, wow. Let me know what that sounds like now. For some reason, that seems like it's coming in hot. Bring that down a little bit. Okay, they seem to be... So right now, I'm running both microphones at the same time, as per Mr. Scott Rogers here. Says Rode is warmer. Presidents use both of them simultaneously because of the microphone covers both sides. I'm gonna have to see what that sounds like, because I wasn't even thinking about that, but it does make sense, you know, to have, you know, your microphone and your backup, but to be running them simultaneously, and hopefully they're coming in at the same time. So I'm gonna stop right now for this experiment. Hopefully it didn't sound bad. Okay, so you do hear Aiden. It says, I hear the boss working in the background pod mic, but not on the Lewis special. You see? Okay. Okay, it says bump the gain on the Shure and run the AB between the two of them if you don't mind. Okay, so I believe the gain is fine here. Once again, I'm going to run the AB. And this one is a little bit less. So, okay. Peter Piper picked the podcast to populate his preferred podcatcher. Peter Piper picked the podcast to populate his preferred podcatcher. Oh, I didn't tell you guys which one was which. Okay, this is the Shure microphone. So, once again, I'm going to switch now to the Rode. Peter Piper picked the podcast to populate his preferred podcatcher. Peter Piper picked the podcast to populate his preferred podcatcher. Peter Piper picked the podcast to populate his preferred podcatcher. Peter Piper picked the podcast to populate his preferred podcatcher. And that's the Shure once again. Okay. Spots, says, hi, his name is Alberto and he's from Arizona. Thank you for stopping by and saying hello. Welcome to the Camera Junkie stream. I appreciate you stopping by and saying hello. Kevin said, never mind, it was him. He only had one earphone in. No problems. Mr. Riley's World saying West Side. How are you doing, sir? Says, nice overhead shot. Appreciate it, sir. Thank you very much. Everyone's saying hi to Mr. Riley's World. That's James. I've been keeping up with the with the social media marketing world buzz and lingo, Mr. James. I believe that's what your kids call you. That's hilarious. Okay, so Kevin says, I got some super cheap $30 kits that came with mic and arms and cables. That would be cool to swap out the capsules because the mics was gold and white and looked really different but sounded like garbage cans. Got them as a gift and didn't have any receipts, so Amazon wouldn't take them back and just hang out in the drawer. Well, that's a really cool project, right? To get a microphone that probably doesn't look as good, throw it in there so that you can get the quality sound and then get all the looks. It's kind of like, throwing a 5.0 Mustang engine into a Miata, right? Like that sleeper type deal where it looks one way but performs the other. I like this. Says you can buy all these microphone capsules on Full Compass. Nice. Thank you for that information. I gotta check that out. So Full Compass. I said that 3 times to try to program it into my brain, but you know what's the good thing? This is recorded, so I can go back to my own live stream and be like, what was it that Richard said? Oh, Full Compass. That's what it is. More likely than not, that's what's gonna happen. Says the Shure sounds really clean. It does, man. Like, well, I hope that that's what you guys are hearing, because I've been listening to it through my recordings, right? And I will listen to what it sounds like on the live stream once it's processed, because there are differences once YouTube has done whatever it's gonna do with it. But all of my recordings sound so clean that it just leads me to believe like there's kind of no way that YouTube can mess this up. It's just that clean. The explanation as to why the mic is your best camera would be a fire idea. Yes, that is what I guess I was trying to get across, that I haven't figured out. Like the concept, right, is what I said. How to get that idea across of like why this would be your best camera, so to speak, the microphone, would literally is what I'm working on. You see, that sounds good. It goes, I would buy the MCJ FOMO limited edition brass microphones. That's kind of what I was thinking. Like brass, you could put the fittings together. You can then put a nice polish to it. You could even decorate it. I've seen so many things being made out of brass. Someone that gets me to think about that is DIY Perks, also a content creator here on the platform. Excuse me. But yes, so DIY Perks, he makes a lot of electronic things, and then whenever he wants to like spruce them up, he encases them in brass, and what he does with it, it leaves it looking like a piece of art. And that's what I think, future ideas. I think brass pipes is something that I can use very easily, right? Think that would be like the easiest thing, kind of like using the PVC. But then I think also brass would look amazing for those old school types of mics, like the ones that I was saying. I can't even remember. Peter has had an entire series on those microphones, and I cannot get it out of my cabeza. Mr. James is here saying good morning. Good morning, sir. It says you can hear the AC when you have both of them on. Okay. I think the AC is being picked up more through the pod mic, because the AC is on right now and it doesn't register that it's showing. But once again, I'll be listening to it myself to see if it actually came through or not. Okay, so John says, how would the new mic sound if you place it above or just out of frame? By the way, I very much like the proximity effect on the new mic. Well, that's what the proximity effect is all about, right? With the SM7Bs and why everyone likes it. I don't think it would be ideal if I move it away, but let's do so real quick. So just out of frame, you're still getting a lot of air. I think you're even hearing Aiden more. But right here, it is just out of frame. So I would say, well, I have the tape measure. Not overhead, but just out of frame. About a foot away, so about 12 inches. Peter Piper picked a podcast to populate his preferred podcatcher. Peter Piper picked a podcast to populate his preferred podcatcher. Peter Piper picked a podcast to populate his preferred podcatcher. And that's with the microphone just out of frame. About 12 inches away. And proximity is not that far at all. This is, like Tom Buck says, one fistance. That's an actual distance of one fist. One fistance. Says, I agree, much more room tone on both mics. Yeah, that's not ideal. The Lewis 57 is more directional, and the Rode is very wide range of omnidirection. Look at that. That's why I said, like, this one seems like it's super hyper cardioid. Like, it's not even picking up. Like, I'm gonna run more tests, but I don't even know how I sound off access, right? It's just, it's picking up everything right here so well that I think, you know, with just a little pop filter to just, because I'm Puerto Rican, right? To remove my pulsives of my Puerto Ricanness. And like, once that's covered, this thing is like good to go, ready to rock and roll. Mr. Riley's World is over here laughing. I guess that's something I said. Oh, that was the James comment. Had to be. All right, Mr. Sarkeesian is also here in the house. He's saying hi, Lewis and y'all. Came in late. Catch up on the replay. Topic sounds interesting. Yes, fullcompass.com. Thank you, John, for putting that here in the chat. It says, great store just down the road from me in Wisconsin. Great service, pro gear. Awesome. Oh, thank you, Sly. Thank you for my brain fart. She says, Louise and Myrtle from Ear Trumpet Labs. And yes, those are the types of microphones, those old school, really beautiful looking microphones and made out of brass, done correctly. Those are all like future dreams of mine. Like, those are some of the videos that I watch. Like, I watch a full workshop, right, with a lathe, and they're working on these brass cylinders and just grinding. I'm just looking at this stuff. I'm like, oh, I would so love to be able to make my own parts like that. And if you think that I'm prototyping well now with PVC, hot glue, and stuff like imagine me in a full-on workshop where I could actually like mold metal, machine shop, just CNC machine things. Oh, that's why I think one of my next things is probably getting a 3D printer. I think that's like the next step into like kind of my own little endeavors, because I could easily make, you know, mold pretty much anything, including a microphone case, right? A microphone cover out of 3D printing. But thank you, Sly, for that. I really do appreciate it. So Louise and Myrtle are microphones from Ear Trumpet Labs. They're beautiful and they sound great. All right. So there we go. I'm just going to rock with this one for the rest of it. All right. We are 20 minutes over. Okay, I was thinking above your face, similar to what we see with Tom Buck's videos. Okay, let's see what's the best I can do here. Let's mute it while I move it. Okay, so I should be coming in. I do have it overhead. Let me go ahead and go to that shot. You can see it, it's right there. So this is my overhead camera here, right? And just right out of shot. So once again, overhead, out of shot, probably around the same thing, about 12 inches. But this is overhead, so now right here I will go through it. Peter Piper picked a podcast to populate his preferred podcatcher. Peter Piper picked the podcast to populate his preferred podcatcher. Peter Piper picked the podcast to populate his preferred podcatcher. And there we go. It's good to have things set up, right? And there we have it. All right, back to square one, and we run it. Oh, Carlos, thank you for stopping by. It says, seriously, sounds good, Lewis. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, Paul Duncan as well. He's got that in there. Myrtle and the Ear Trumpet Labs. Says, if you want to help support Mr. Camera Junkie and his channel, you could always buy me some caffeine, hook me up with some coffee. It's always highly appreciated. I don't have coffee on the stream today. It's a sin, sacrilege. No, but what it is that I actually had it and I finished it before the stream went live. It says overhead shot is the best. Thank you. Yo, I gotta give it up to little 5100 here, because this thing is rocking and rolling, man. I absolutely love it. As you can see, my Monster Energy off here to the side, my water, and look, my mouse bumper. It's just so clear, right? Like you could see all the scratches on my mouse, on the sliders of my mouse and everything like that. Get all the details in there. Boom. Super good, super good. There we go. Okay, let's go back to it. It says you would have to talk with your mouth pointing up towards the mic. Still not as good as on the as right on. Absolutely. That's the whole thing. Probably to get the sound to be as good overhead, I would probably have to boost up the gain, and then it's probably going to start picking up all those other sounds. So for a room that's not treated, for a non-treated room, and this microphone being able to deaden out so much of that sound, it's freaking amazing. Lewis, can I recommend a good soldering iron? I wish I could, because the one that I have died, right? Let me explain to you. The soldering iron that I ended up using, I think was from Radio Shack. Yeah. Hey, it is what it is. So I have like this industrial soldering iron that I've had for years, right? And I've been kicking around. It's like this big box. It has like the heat gun built into it. I can set my my temperatures to the exact degree so that I can make sure. Like I said, I've had it for years. I went to use it for this project of making this microphone, and that thing is dead. It won't keep the temperature, so it jumps from 100 degrees to 400 degrees, and I'm like, yo, I'm supposed to be at around 250 300 range, and it's just cooking things way out of control. So it's no longer working and functioning, that I had to pull out Old Faithful soldering iron. This is a Radio Shack soldering iron. Just, that's all it is. Like, so let me see if I can, just so you can see how the label on it looks of how old this thing is. It just literally says 48 volt soldering iron. So these things never die, right? These old school ones. So if you can find one like this, I would recommend it, as it's just a backup. But right now I'm probably going to be in the market for a soldering iron kit to replace that one. So something that's good and high quality, I wouldn't even be able to tell you. I'm going to be researching it myself. So if you're not in a need or in a rush to get a soldering iron, I would tell you wait till I get mine, and I will let you know how it worked out and how it's working out with what I bought, to see if if I would recommend it myself or tell you to go somewhere else. So that's that. It says, I love the clean look. You could play with it. You prefer that look. The frame sounds better but could be gain. Okay. It's deeper when in front. Yeah, that's proximity effect. I just like the fact that, like right now, I'm looking at it. Yeah, I think just very little is coming through right now, but the AC just turned on. So this is like never before, where the AC wasn't even a thought to have on, and now it is. Oh, Scott, you're ruining me, man. Are you making a Krispy Kreme run, I guess, after the show tonight? Now I have it on the brain, Scott. Now it's in here and it's incepted, and now I can go to it thinking like it was my own idea, but it's not. It's because you mentioned it. I could have happily lived with no Krispy Kremes tonight. It probably would have been a little bit healthier, right? And now I'm probably gonna end up there because yes, just because yes. Latina Stream Queens, is that my 5100? Yes, it is. The 5100 looks super clean overhead, as you can see, and with the kit lens, this thing looks amazing. That's why I said, like, this is just ideal. Look at that. It looks great. And thank you for stopping by, Marga. I believe you're in the Los Angeles area, something like that. And for those of you who are still here, make sure to hit the like button. Just a little reminder, if you haven't already. If you just joined in late, do so. It's highly, highly appreciated. And yes, he says Krispy Kreme run, that is. Yeah, I read typo. So it's like, you're making a Krispy Kreme run after the show tonight? Maybe, man. You got me thinking about it. And they have good coffee too. I've actually been like trying to stay away from them, but like I've been enjoying the Krispy Kreme coffees more than Dunkin' Donuts, and that's just me. That's just me. Dunkin' Donuts, I don't know. Let's just leave it at that. To me, they've been dropping the ball lately. They're not really making anything. And when it comes to coffee, ask, Mr. Randall Brander over here about those frappes from McDonald's. Those things are good. Like, I don't care what anyone says. I like those before I go to Starbucks. But then when it comes to kind of just like a regular coffee or an iced coffee, right now I've been preferring the iced coffees that I'm getting from Krispy Kreme more than Dunkin' Donuts. But with that being said, Mr. Rogers got me thinking about donuts, so I think I'm going to be finishing things up soon. I mean to say, you could use it. Oh, girl, that's what I was telling you. Like, I had to test it out to use it. Paul saying, hey, Marga. Saying hi to Paul as well. Yeah, I had to test it out, and like, I was doing my best not to, because then you like fall in love. But if, like I said, if you say that, hey, you know what, I need my camera, I'll be like, yo, send it over. I've been waiting on you, actually, so no pressure. And I'm probably going to be getting the same camera to replace it. It just works too well, too convenient, and it's too, like, it's perfectly small. It's perfectly sized for my setup here. See, like, the fact that it's right here out of frame, you don't see it. It doesn't catch on this camera, but I also have it lined up so that if I am overhead, right? If I go to the overhead and I'm showing anything here, you can see my hands, but at the same time, I can, yeah, let's do this on the fly. I'm gonna unlock my overhead cam. I'm gonna shut this off real quick, and then I'm gonna add a camera here, right? And we're gonna change the shape of this camera to a squircle. Boom. We're gonna squircleize it, and I can move me over here to the corner, right? And biggin, like Doc says, throw that on there. Boom. And now I can have my hands here as I'm demonstrating anything, and I'm still like not breaking eye contact with you. I'm still looking directly into this camera right here while I'm demonstrating anything that I could be on my desk, so on and so forth. It's just super convenient, like extremely convenient. So I could just leave that as is right there. Actually, you know what? Assuming that I have the other thing, I'll move this up here so that then I can just throw that there. Oh, no, that's not moving. There we go. I'm messing everything up live. All right, let's turn that off now. Let me move me. Let's lock the scene. We're doing a live demo as well, so that then I can just throw that on there as well. Boom. So now that becomes the scene, right? Also hides the microphone, so that's cool. Because the microphone's right here, allows everything, and now I have like a killer overhead shot that I can use for anything. Boom. Definitely got to get that going. Definitely got to get that going. Okay, it says late to the stream. What is the new mic? A Shure shotgun? Well, this new microphone, if you do end up watching the replay, Marga, I made it myself. I ended up buying a Shure capsule, and through a process and using a PVC pipe right here, similar to this, cut it out and made my own Shure microphone, and I'm sure it will impress just about anyone with how good it sounds. Shout out to Tom Buck. All right, so where are we? So Scott says, I'm using an old school cheap soldering iron right now, so I'll wait for your new discovery. All right, I'll check it out, because there's one of the things on my list that I was like, oh man, I can't believe that thing died. You know, I pull it out every once in a while to utilize it, and it just died on this latest project. And I'm like, oh. I think a soldering iron is something that everyone should like learn how to use. Simple electronics, and it can go a long way. To think about this, like I'm really excited because I'm gonna get me another capsule, right? I'm gonna order another one, assuming that this worked out so well, and I think I'm gonna do it with that other USB microphone that I have, right? Like the Maono. Yeah, that's USB, so I'll be able to. Oh, you know what? I don't know if you saw my eyes light up there, but that's gonna go down. Cause the Maono has this shape like the Audio Technica AT2020. So it's basically a clone of that microphone. Now this is the whole thing. That microphone, the AT2020, is a front address microphone. Yeah. So it's a front address microphone. I have to do some research on this. But regardless, the idea is to utilize the capsule, replace it on the USB microphone, but make it a top facing microphone. So basically, so it can look like the AT2020 in the Maono body, but the capsule will be directed to actually receive the input from the top instead of from the front, so that I would actually be able to use it like this instead of, like that. Yeah, I like that idea. That'll be a good, fun little project. Just 1 dozen donuts won't hurt you. I know. It won't hurt me. It would just make me gain weight, right? Lo que no mata engorda. That's the saying that we have. Saying what doesn't kill you just makes you gain weight. That's it. Paul says it's a replay thing. Yes, San Francisco. So congratulations. I believe you're doing a show over there, Marga. Super excited. Hopefully that doesn't change the plans for May. Marga. So cool. So Paul is just letting him know that yes, I made this microphone. He used a capsule of a SM7B. Yep. And I think it sounds similar. Just, I gotta check it out. It says Bavarian cream is my favorite donut. Oh, so good. It says frappe mochas are cheaper than Starbucks. Yes. And you know what's not too bad is their Cinnabon, because McDonald's has a Cinnabon. So I go there, get a cinnamon bun, and then get, a frappe. Good stuff from McDonald's. It says, I know, been rehearsals. Nice. She says, I definitely will watch the replay. Yeah, check it out. Actually, you know what? Let me try something just to give you like the final treat, because it's not completed. But let's try something here. Okay. I'm going to go over to this tab here. This is my Chrome tab. Oh, let's do this. Boom. All right. I almost forgot, because you see there's so many parts of the show that I forget. Cities Gaw. Channels that I think you should go and watch. And this week's entry to Cities Gaw is this amazing channel from iPhondo. So if you're not familiar with this man, his name is Farouk. He is a Turkish man with a YouTube channel. And this is one of the channels that I always get excited when I see his videos on my feed, because he's a tech YouTuber. If you know Gerald Dundun, which I don't know if he's been on Cities Gauze yet, but will definitely be on there. Mentioned him plenty of times before on the live stream. He's a tech channel similar to that, as you can see what's on there. Let me see if I could actually scroll through this here. There we go. As you can see, he's doing videos about all different types of tech, But what really gets me excited about his videos is his B-roll. So this dude's B-roll is second to none. And if you're not familiar with B-roll is, oh wow, let's close that out. B-roll is the part of footage. Okay, Ecamm's not letting me do that right now, so I'm just gonna forget about that altogether. What's going on? Okay, just gonna make you smaller and get you out of the way. Okay, we can do that. Boom. So now we clicked here. All right. Okay, we got it working. This is what I'm talking about. Like when it comes to his B-roll, which is the secondary footage of whatever product that he's talking about, all of this stuff right here. This is amazing. Look at this footage. This is stupid good. Like it really is stupid good. So if you haven't checked out this man, I like him. He's got a Turkish accent, so it's a little tough, but I think that this dude's humor, his comedy is also incredible. He's hilarious to me, and I really enjoy a lot of his videos. Okay, so let me go back here. Boom. And let's go back here. Boom. Perfect. All right, and we keep everything rolling. Okay, so yes, she says yes, May 7th in Miami. Perfect. I'm so looking forward to meeting you in person when you get here to Miami. Super excited. But with that being said, we are at the end of the comments, and we are getting very close to 2 hours. I'm trying to keep these down to an hour, but hey, I'm Puerto Rican. I usually take about 20 minutes to say bye every single time. But with that being said, thank you all as always for being here, taking the time and spending your most precious commodity, which is your time, here with me on the Camera Junkie live stream. I hope you had fun and you found this interesting. I had a lot of fun not only spending the time with you guys, but also creating this project. This was so much fun, and the fact that I have a finished working product that I can utilize and probably will be utilizing a lot more from here on out, just because it's my one and only, like, one of a kind microphone. I gotta say that it just gives this sense of completion and satisfaction of, you know, working with my hands that to me is second to none. It's stuff that I still love to do and love to just create, right? When it's not only videos, but create anything, whether it's a foam core cover. So if those of you who haven't seen it, let's go to this shot over here. Right, this is a foam core cover, right, that I just made for my iPad, so that when I'm not using it during the live stream, I'm not accidentally bumping it. And I put a little strip here as well, so that I could actually just prop my phone on there, and as I work throughout the day, have my phone on there. Just little things like that give me this, like I said, this sense of completion, to be able to just fix a little nuance. And let me see what I can find when it comes to copper fittings and things like that, because that's also a great material to work with, because it's malleable and the finished product also looks chez magnifique, how they say. So as always, thank you once again. Everyone is saying bye here. Even iPhone, yes, he's one of my favorite YouTubers. He's awesome, man. Randall saying Dunkin' Donuts time. Let's see how we finish that out. But guys, thank you as always. We're gonna be doing it all over again next week, so take care of yourselves, right? Take it easy, be good, and I will see you next week. All right, so I will see you all later. Talk to you. Ooh, the music just timed out perfectly there.
I've been on my spaceship counting stars since '94, waiting for someone to come and knock